Coming up, why is everything terrible?
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Stephen Scott and Shaun Priest.
You know, I remember in my radio days, Shaun, I would always, kick the show off on a Monday with, hey, how you doing? Hope you had a great weekend, guys. But here on Double Tap, we're honest. We're truthful. And the truth
we're miserable.
is, everything's terrible.
Well, I must admit, I'm not having a great day so far. It seems like my Windows theme has reset. I have it in high contrast mode just because, I don't like bright light. Of course I don't.
Yeah, of course.
And then I suddenly opened the start menu and was immediately had my retinas burnt out by a blinding white light. Everything's gone bright white again. I don't know what's happened, so I've just set that back up. But it also means I've lost my wallpaper. Bit of inside information here. On my monitor, everything is completely black, but I've got a thick white line going up so I know sort of where my camera is so I don't drift off, but that's gone. So if I start looking, behind me and all over the place, forgive me, I have no idea.
If that chair starts swinging, you've got problems.
Yes.
Yeah,
Stephen, you're going to have to keep me on track.
Okay, I will do my very best.
Okay.
Listen, I'm kind of the same. I've had a few technical issues over the weekend. A really annoying one happened to me on Friday morning, actually. I was going to visit the doctor again. And, this is becoming a regular occurrence. I think I'm getting to an age,
Yes.
where you start to go to the doctor every 2 minutes. Anyway, I was going along, and there's a hospital not too far from where I live, which is kind of handy. I can walk to it, which is kind of amazing. So, I've never been to this hospital before, ever. So I have to cross a very busy road to get to it, which is always daunting. And it's one of those roads that's just forever busy. It has, its lulls, but it's generally always busy.
Does it have a crossing?
It doesn't have any crossing, no. There is one crossing, but it's like a mile up the road. And I think I'm not walking a mile to walk back a mile just to cross a road.
What price your safety, Stephen?
Not worth that, I'll tell you.
No, it's not worth a 5-minute walk.
No, and I'll tell you could do a mile in 5 minutes. Goodness me! But okay, I go to cross the road and I use the traditional method of a blind person crossing the road, which is they can see, they'll just stop. So that's my general approach.
Could I just butt in here?
Yes.
Double Tap isn't in any way offering advice on mobility navigation.
On anything in life. Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. We don't offer
we are
advice.
Wrong.
We are wrong, and it absolutely will get you killed. But
we're also just human, and
I want to cross
what we
the road.
tend to do.
And there's no one around, right? So no one to help. But anyway, and of course, the other thing that cars do, I don't know if you like this or get annoyed by it, but sometimes cars just slow down. And you don't know if they're slowing down for something else.
Yeah.
Like, because where I live, it's all very narrow roads, right? So I don't know if the car's slowing down because another car's coming towards it.
Yeah.
And then I go walking out in the middle of it, thank you, and then get steamrolled by this one.
By another car coming the other way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
So anyway, I crossed the road and I thought to myself, what I'll do, since I've never been to this hospital, is I will get Ira up and running on the phone and help, get some assistance with Ira. Now, I have had a lot of issues with Ira indoors, and that's been a common theme. For a lot of people, we have issues with getting connected. Once you're connected and you've kind of got the signal, you're off and running, but it's just getting that connection.
Yes. To be fair, not only Ira, Be My Eyes, anything that requires an internet connection struggles once you go inside.
And hospitals are even worse. They're always worse.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm outside the building. I mean, I'm not even at the building at this point. And so I get Ira on and I get a call through and it just will not connect. I cannot get connected. So I tried calling again, couldn't get anything. Then I thought, okay, right, I'll try Be My Eyes. Maybe I'll be able to get through there. And I get Be My Eyes on, and I actually used it on the Meta glasses. I said, hey Meta, Be My Eyes. And you must now connect to the internet, was the response.
Oh.
Well, I have connected to the internet. So I went on to Safari just to check that I actually had a connection and it was working. But I could not get connected to any service. So there I was, Shaun Priest, wasping my way, spidering my way to that door because I had no idea where the door was for that hospital.
Yes.
And
like
thankfully,
a drunken wasp. Yes,
thankfully, I heard a couple of voices heading in a direction that I thought, well, they may be heading either in or out of the building, so I'll go that way. Finally found the door, walked in, fell over a chair, and asked someone where reception was, to which they said, you've already walked past it. And then the woman at reception said, oh, you just walked past me. Thanks.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for your
do you know
help.
what she said? She said, I thought you knew where you were going. I must have been walking with, determination, clearly.
You do walk like a wrecking ball.
I do.
Yeah. It's, I know. Hey, what can you do? We've all had that experience. Are we really going to go here again? Yes, I think we are. Let's talk Meta Ray-Ban glasses. How much we love them.
Yes. Well, look, before we do that, I want to bring in a message from Orlando because this will set the scene, I think, for the conversation we're going to have today.
This is Orlando from Las Vegas, Nevada, and I just got an update for my Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. Version 14.1 that states that Meta AI is available in the UK now. So I hope you guys get the update that you and test out everything else like the rest of us. Love the show. Keep doing what you guys do.
Thank you, Orlando. Appreciate it. And yes, you're absolutely right. Many of us are now getting access to it, although as we will hear through the course of the program and through the course of our messages, not everyone still has access to it, which is just insane. But anyway, yes, your issues with Meta AI.
Okay.
I feel that's where we're starting with this, right? We're just starting with issues, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
It's all about us today. So I had Look and Tell, and it was great. It was nice to have it back, like an old friend. It was lovely. I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. A bit of awkward silence here and there, but it was fine. Yesterday, I also got the new Translate feature. Have you seen this yet?
Yeah, you've been quite excited about this. I can't speak to a Japanese person yet, no, because it doesn't appear that I've got it. Nothing has come up to say I've got it. I did read, though, that people are getting it.
Well, it's moved out of the early access phase. So basically, it's no longer beta. You will see it at some point, the live translation mode. And no, sorry, it doesn't translate Japanese anyway. There's only 3 languages supported so far, which is French, Italian, and Spanish. But yeah, I was excited by this. So it just appeared on the Home tab in the MetaView app, just underneath the name of the glasses at the top, there was Translate. So, okay, I'll give that a go. The other cool thing about live translation is that it doesn't need a internet connection. Once you download the language that you want to translate, and that's the only caveat, if you like, you could only have one. You can't switch without an internet connection. So you double tap on the translate button, then you pick your language. So they're speaking, and then you pick the language. I picked French, and then translate into English, and then it uploads it to your glasses, that language pack. And that's it. So I tried it out. I asked Lady A to play some French radio, and it did. I've got to say, I was really impressed.
Oh, really?
I was able to sit there, and the glasses were just talking away. Now, maybe it was talking absolute nonsense. I don't know. I don't speak French. But it seemed to be on point. There was talking about a movie review. And yeah, I thought this is really cool. So I thought, you know what? This is great. I've got Look and Tell. I've got the Translate thing. It feels like we're getting back on track. I then went out yesterday, and just as a aside, I thought I'll just give it a go. Look and tell me what's in front of me. Oh, to do this, please go to the Meta AI section and turn on camera use. Camera use isn't even an option under the Meta AI settings. It's not even there. So I lost my Look and Tell again. So last night I had to do a factory reset. I actually uninstalled the app, put it all back on. I set up the glasses again, and this time in the Bluetooth settings of the phone, there wasn't an option to show notifications. It just disappeared. The only option in there was to share contacts, to make calls, but show notifications wasn't there. And the setup process wouldn't continue until I enabled it. But I did have a choice to enable. So I had to factory reset again, uninstall, reinstalled, and I set it up again. Now everything is working the second time. But wow, why are these so unreliable, it seems? Why do things just seem to stop working? It's frustrating because when they do work, fantastic. But
you think once the setting's turned on and it's available, that's it.
Yeah. And,
weird.
I was asking I asked the Meta glasses for help. Okay, so where is this camera use option? Go to the settings tab. There's not even a settings tab anymore. in the MetaView app. It's even, it's behind on the current MetaView app. This is so strange.
Okay. Wow.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think for people who've got it, I hope it's working for people. I think a lot of people, especially in our community, are using it for identification of products, right? Which is, a good way to use it. But, if you're going to start having these kind of issues, I suppose, I feel like saying, well, we maybe should have a bit of patience, but this is going to sound terrible, but I expect this from a smaller company who are getting, a startup. I'd expect that.
Yeah.
But you don't get that on Ally from Envision. Do you know what I mean? That works all the time. So why can't Meta figure this out?
Is some consistency. You've got an early access group there to test everything out. And it just seems like there's something out, because the amount of posts I see all over the place with people saying all of a sudden I can't make calls, or it's not playing music, or the Bluetooth is coming out of the phone and not the glasses. And you go through all the usual stuff. Yeah. First thing first, always turn the glasses off and on again, and then turn your phone off and on again, and see if that fixes the issue.
I know, but the classic there is, right, if I'm trying to call you, and it's usually you I'm calling, so I try and call you when I'm on the move, and it is, 50-50 every time, whether or not I will be calling from the phone or calling from the glasses. It's saying calling Shaun Priest on phone or on WhatsApp. And then I wait. And then if I hear VoiceOver start to say something, I know then, it's locked on to the phone. Or locked onto the glasses. But if I don't hear anything, I think, and then I did it the other day, I heard the phone ring out of my bag.
Yes. Now,
like you're saying, turn off and on, all the rest. But that's not ideal when you're out and about. You don't want to be doing that every 5 minutes. So, they've got a lot of work to do, I think, to solidify this. I will be interested to see what comes at Meta Connect this year, because obviously things are going to move forward. And it's funny because every company has got its issues, one way or the other. They've all got issues with AI at some point. Obviously Apple had their issues with Siri, and goodness knows what WWDC is going to be like this year. I feel it's going to be Tim Cook kneeling on the floor crying, saying, we're sorry, we've made a complete mess. And I'll be honest, I kind of want a little bit of that from Tim Cook. I kind of want a little bit of, you know what, maybe there should be a little bit of an apology here, because what's interesting is they've been changing the marketing for Apple Intelligence all over the place.
Yeah.
First it was Apple Intelligence ready, then it was built for Apple Intelligence, then it's Apple Intelligence is coming, and now it's just, hey, phones are great, aren't they? You should buy them one.
Look over here. Look at this shiny thing. Look over there.
At some point, it's just going to be Apple, place you buy things.
But see, to be honest, how many people would have bought, upgraded their phone on the anticipation that Apple Intelligence was coming?
Well, they were sold that. That's the point.
Exactly my point.
Whether they did or not,
right.
Certainly sold the idea. I also saw something interesting the other day. So this was a rumor going around that apparently the new iPhone 17, there's lots of talk about the iPhone 17 Air. This rumor that's going around that basically it's going to be really thin and it's going to be a really different design for the iPhone 17 Air. And there was an article I saw this morning which said, the iPhone 17 Air will get something the pros have had for years. And I thought, LiDAR, maybe. But no, what they were talking about was RAM. Minimum RAM requirement being 12 gigabytes in the new models. And then it went on to say that the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max, and actually the whole 16 lineup, and the iPhone 16e have 8 gig of RAM in them. And it said that previous models, the only models prior to that had 8 gig of RAM were the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. Hence why they are the only devices able to run Apple Intelligence. And I didn't know that. I didn't realize that was the issue. So apparently
it's a memory limitation.
It's a memory limitation, because apparently the only iPad that's out there that only has less than 8 gig in it is the education iPad, as they call it. And that one doesn't support Apple Intelligence. So, that kind of gives us a sense of why there was a point. I mean, this is kind of why all the iMacs and the MacBooks and the Mac Minis all were upgraded to 16 gig base memory. And that may increase further in the future, because that base model will be what really drives the Apple Intelligence. But for the moment, there just isn't much of a service to drive. I mean, yesterday I got, for the first time, and I couldn't get it all day, it just kept saying writing tools not available. And I'm like, wow, really? What? They just switched it off.
Interesting. Okay.
What's happening? I mean, no, I don't even have the basic stuff that I had at the beginning. So I don't know what's going on over there, but I hope there's a lot of work going into fixing it. I trust that there is. All right, no one's resting on their laurels, I don't believe for a second.
They can't afford to.
Well, they can't afford to because, look, everyone else is thundering ahead. But, as I say, all these companies have got their issues. Meta certainly have got theirs. I want to get some emails in on this, and let's just dive right in because there's a lot of emails on Meta.
Email, we get email. We get your email every day.
Ding dong.
Here's your mail today.
Oosh.
Oh, that's a subdued Shaun Priest today.
I thought that was more professional, to be honest.
Okay, all right.
All right, try my best.
Well, we can ask.
Where am I looking now? Am I still right? I've no
I
idea.
think it's still on screens. That's a start.
Oh, good for me.
And it's great
Carry
on
on.
the podcast. Everyone cares on the podcast, right? Let's move to Alan, who is getting in touch with us from Oban, and in Scotland, that is. And he is here to tell us about his experiences with Meta AI.
Morning, lads. Alan from Oban, Scotland here. Hope you guys are well. Just want to weigh in very quickly on the Meta Ray-Ban glasses debate, if that's the right word to use. And I was one of the lucky ones. This morning I woke up, put my glasses on while I was having breakfast. And as I've done the last few days since I got the email, I just said, hey, Meta, look and tell me what this is, please. And it... normally it would say not available in your region. However, this time it said turn on the camera setting under the MetaView in settings. I thought, ooh, that's different. So I went and had a look, and of course there is no setting for camera under the MetaView settings. I thought, oh, what's going on here? So I closed the app and opened the app again, and hey presto, it popped up, new Meta AI settings are available. Would you like to enable them? Absolutely. Hey presto, straight in, no problem. Apart from the first thing I did was went to the window and said, hey Meta, look and tell me what this is, please. It said, this is a bicycle. And I can guarantee you there's not a bicycle out the back, as it was later confirmed as I thought. Of course, this is probably not going to be for everyone, but just if that helps anyone in any way, shape or form, that's hopefully good. Hopefully you guys are on the list, or I've got it by now as well. I was just listening to yesterday's show this morning, actually, just before I tried this myself. And I have contacted one of my friends over on the Isle of Mull, and unfortunately she's in the still no joy yet camp. So it does look like they are rolling it out like you guys said, but it's a mess, isn't it? They should just release it and be done with it. I'm sure there's a technical reason why they don't, but it's a bit of a pain.
Yeah, it really is. Thanks, Alan. I'm glad you've got it, although your friend on the Isle of Mull, a beautiful place, by the way.
Mull in Kintyre. Is that the same thing?
No.
Anyway, yes, beautiful, beautiful Oban has it. It seems like Scotland is well covered by look and tell.
Not really, because there's still parts of Scotland that don't have it, and parts of England, and parts of Africa, and parts of India, and parts of Australia, and parts of pretty much anywhere on Earth.
Got to take things too far, haven't you? Yes. Again, look, there's nothing we can do as users on this site.
No, there's not.
I don't mean double tap. I mean as end users, users of the glasses. Because I know people are, trying all these different ways to sort of make it happen.
You just got to wait. You
just got to wait. You will get that notification at some point.
Here's Desi B.
Hey, Steve and Shaun. I just turned on the Look and Tell feature in Meta Glasses app, MetaView app. I've been played with this for hours and hours. I found that I had to, in my iPhone, go to Settings, then Apps and MetaView, and then enable the photos, give full access to the photos. And once that was done, the Look and Tell features are working for me. Wow. Let me know if that works for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, there are just so many workarounds here. It feels like we're just trying to find solutions to this. When in fact, you will just get that notification saying, there it is. And it will obviously prompt you for certain things that may need permissions for. It does feel like the simplest way for all of us, once we get the feature, is to then reset our glasses, repair everything back up, and then that's it. And in theory, that would work. But you tried that, and it didn't work because you've lost it again. So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I had another issue at that point. So I don't know what that is. I don't know why it's so inconsistent. Now, I will say my battery on both devices were very low. I think my phone was actually running at 0% at that point. So it could be something to do with low energy, battery saving. Maybe it was doing something there. So maybe that was the reason. But either way, it's hard work. But I am an expert, as I'm sure most of us are now, at factory resetting and resetting up. I can do it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're getting good at it, that's for sure. That process. It's just that whole thing of, no, ask the question, how is the tallest building? Get lost, skip.
Now, you see. Now, I find it's best to go through that to make sure, particularly with the look and tell. So I grit my teeth and how tall is the tallest building? And then look and tell me. I go through that just so it forces through those permissions, such as allow access to the camera
of course.
and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, let's see what Craig has to say.
Afternoon, Double Tap Collective. My name is Craig from Chandler's Ford. Here's one for you. I received the Meta update on my glasses today, which told me that I could happily use these and have the AI features in the UK. Hooray, I thought. I can bin all my old email addresses and use my original Meta account to log in. So I wiped the glasses, factory reset, as you do, installed the UK version of the app, not on the VPN, logged in with my Meta credentials that I use across Insta, Facebook, everything else, and it still did not give me the option to have the camera working on the glasses for AI use. I logged back in with my newest account that I had to create, which was the VPN version of an account to still use the camera, you know what I mean, the US version. But I logged in on the app as being from the UK, location services allowed and everything else. And because that email account hadn't been blocked already, it's working a treat. I could be utterly wrong. I could be totally off the mark, but it feels to me like if you've had your privileges revoked on a previous account, to use them in the UK, you may have to start from scratch and use another email address. Bit annoying. I could be utterly wrong, but that's what I found this afternoon.
Well, I'll be honest, I thought that too. I did wonder if perhaps if they had blocked someone at one point, then, that person wouldn't be able to access it. But then I thought, well, okay, I have been on the VPN a lot. I know you have too. And then it was asking me to, go through the process of confirming my location and all of that. So I'm thinking, I wonder if that was the reset going on actually in the back end of it for the account. But of course, there's no information from Meta on this at all. It's just rolling out in this way. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of making me nervous to ever think down the line of trying VPN things again. I don't think I'd ever bother with that again because it seems to have caused more hassle, perhaps. Again, we don't know, but it does feel like it's caused more hassle than perhaps it was worth.
Yeah, could be. I mean, maybe that could have delayed. And to be fair to Meta, maybe that could be the issue with some of the problems that we're experiencing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's due to the fact that it's actually confused where we are. It is against the T's and C's, terms and conditions, to use a VPN.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a good reason for it.
Tom has thoughts.
Hello, this is Tom in Colorado, calling to respond to Jim's message that was aired on Friday, April 11th, having to do with the Meta Ray-Ban glasses and the apparent fragility and unreliability of the connection between the glasses and the MetaView app. It was an interesting discussion, and I appreciate it being brought up, and I appreciate that both Shaun and Stephen were candid about the problems that they have had in this regard. I finally succumbed to the FOMO of the Meta Ray-Ban glasses and bought them a month or so ago. And I must say that after that period of usage, I have a love-hate relationship with them. I have experienced this fragility of connection over and over again. I am an expert in doing all kinds of cycling of power of my phone and of the glasses and checking the Bluetooth connections and resetting them and unpairing and then repairing through the MetaView app. It takes about 20 minutes of my life every time I have to do that, and I've done it many, many times. It's extremely frustrating and very disappointing. I just don't get it. Why are we cutting Meta and Ray-Ban so much slack on this and still being so gaga about this second generation device that is, at least in this regard, a piece of crap? Yeah, I'm getting support from these guys. I bought my glasses through Amazon, who is a registered seller, an authorized seller of Meta Ray-Ban glasses. And when I go to get support from Meta, they say, you didn't buy the glasses from us, so we don't support them. Here, go talk to Ray-Ban. I go talk to Ray-Ban, and Ray-Ban says, go talk to Meta. So I'm in this infinite loop of no support and no help whatsoever. Yeah, the glasses are great for some things. They have incredible audio and, both in the recording and in the output side of things. They take decent pictures. And whenever you can get the glasses to communicate with the internet and use their AI, yeah, that's great too, but it's very inconsistent. Once again, why do we always have this overwhelming message that they're so great? Yeah, just frustrating. Thought I'd vent. Bye-bye. Keep up the good work.
Glad you did, Tom. Glad you did. I think it's fair, though, because there is that sense of, well, why are we so excited by this? Yet we're having so many issues, and why do we cut the company slack? Well, here's my take on it. I think it's because we've seen what they can do, right? If we were being shown something, I'm just thinking about maybe another company that perhaps showed off some things around intelligence, for example, and they never turned out to actually be in any way real, just putting it out there, then that's a different story, right? Because you feel you were sold a lemon, right, rather than a new iPhone. By Apple. Shouldn't laugh.
Burning those bridges, Stephen Scott. Yes, well done.
I'm never going to contact us again.
But
that's my thing, right? I mean, ultimately, we've seen what the Meta glasses can do. So what we're having here are these issues. But when they work really well. And I think that's the thing. And we kind of say, well, okay, we're going to cut them some slack because the base level features are really good. And the AI is coming and it's maturing as it goes along. It seems slower than the others, but also they're the only ones really out there doing this. Everyone else is focused on the phone. Everyone else is focused on a computer, but no one else has really got into this space yet. And perhaps this is the reason why, because there are so many challenges. There are so many issues between getting the devices to be powerful enough and the connection solid enough. A wireless connection between your phone and your Bluetooth. On your glasses, and having all of that go with live video, in environments that are constantly changing with different internet connections all the time. That is a lot.
Stop it!
That's a lot to deal with, right? So I think
sounds like you're giving them excuses.
Well, they're the only ones doing it, right? Everyone else, no one else has said. I mean, Google haven't come out with theirs yet. Apple haven't come out with anything more than the Vision Pro at this point.
I don't think we are giving. Wired. I don't think we are cutting them some slack at all. Look, when I first got mine, I thought they worked really well. They were stable. I wasn't having any issues at all. I was using a VPN to access a feature that wasn't officially available to me anyway. But aside from that, they were great. And for me, and I still say this now, I'm not so much using the AI, especially the look and tell, for anything that productive anyway. For me, it's still Be My Eyes. If these just supported Be My Eyes on their own, I would be all over these. I would say these are great for us because that is such a useful feature. But pair that with the ability to make video calls with WhatsApp, Instagram now as well, and also Messenger. So you can get help. I got help going to the doctors just the other day. Tell me where the door is from one of my daughters, just rang them on WhatsApp. That capability alone makes them, I would say, an essential tool for us.
Yeah,
I just think it is. Now,
as I'm saying, it's the basic essential features that are working well. That's what people are kind of buying into. I know that people think that, and most people will be thinking, well, hey, I'm buying this great AI product, and the AI is kind of lacking.
The AI is secondary.
Yeah, I think we have to almost look at it that way at this point. Especially and we're talking here to the blind community, right? Because it's funny when you look outside the bubble. There's a lot of people who are less interested in these glasses because they don't have a screen in them. And they're saying, well,
of course.
I even saw a commentator saying, well, if they bring out another pair without a screen in it, the sales won't go up. So they're determined that they have to, the visuals have to be there for the majority of people. They'll be useless to us, but really that is what's going to keep these devices alive and make them of interest to other people. Of course, the challenge for us is making sure that everything that's on that screen is described to us. Otherwise, we're back to the Amazon Echo with a screen situation, which I don't really fancy.
Stop that. Yeah, no, exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, let's get one more on this from Errol, who is on this point, and a couple of other things as well.
Hey guys, it's Earl from Toronto, and I just wanted to drop in with a couple of comments. Let me start by saying that you guys have an awesome show, and I really try not to miss an episode if I can help it. But I have a couple of things regarding Thursday's episode. I believe it was Thursday on the 10th of April. Somebody was asking about deleting the entire voice history in the MetaView app. You can do it. In the newly designed app, you make sure you're on the devices tab. Then you go to device settings. Then you go down to the heading that says privacy and security. Then you're going to go to glasses privacy. Double tap on that. Then you're looking for voice activity log. Double tap on that. And then for some reason, my phone always puts me in the middle somewhere. It does not put me at the top of the screen. So you're going to go to the top of the screen and you're going to go to the right about maybe 3 or 4 times. I'm not sure exactly because I'm telling you this from memory. And you're going to find a good old delete all button. Hit that button and the rest is history. Your voice chats will all be gone. Now, I personally don't recommend deleting all of your voice history, but that's a personal preference. And if that's what you want to do, then, go ahead and do it. I prefer to keep my history intact, but that's just me. Second of all, I wanted to comment on Jacket FM. I'm enjoying it so far. I've been on it for over a month and a half, and it really has evolved quite a bit. Now, I would never give it up for Mastodon or any of the other services I'm on. I think they all have their place. But I think Jacket FM is definitely a service to watch out for and to see what's going to come in the future. Thanks, guys. Once again, keep up the great work. Love the show. And I very rarely miss it. And if I do miss it, I always try to catch up on the podcast. Take care, and we'll chat again soon.
Thanks, Errol. I hope you give yourself a good talking to if you miss an episode.
Yes.
That's very important.
Thank you for listening.
Mr. F certainly gives me a good talking to if I miss an episode.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
No, that's a fantastic tip. And I'm so glad that Meta make it such an easy process to delete all your voice activity.
It's so easy, isn't it? Yeah.
Just 7,000 steps to go through. But yeah, that helps out a lot because if you just go to your activity setting, then it's not there. But if you do it, as Earl said, I tried it out myself because I had 10,000 requests of me saying, look and tell, and 10,000 of it saying, it's not available in your region. So, right, clearing that out. And the delete all button is there and it works fantastic. Thank you so much, Earl.
Yeah, appreciate that, Earl. If you want to get involved with the show, here's how.
Get in touch with Double Tap. Email feedback at doubletaponair.com. Leave us a voicemail at 1-877-803-4567. And now you can send an audio or video message to us on WhatsApp. That number is 1-613-481-0144.
Now let's talk about washing machines. It's an area that you and I know well, and I'm sure we could spend the next hour just talking about that, right?
Oh, I could, yes. The program E. That's all I know about. Everything that I wash goes on program E. I don't know how long that goes for or what temperature. It's just E. I'd say that was everything.
Yeah, well, I'm going to sit here and tell you I know absolutely nothing about washing machines except the fact that they exist. However, Jammy G was in touch, right, and was looking for an accessible washing machine. Well, Denise is first up with hopefully an answer.
Hi, Stephen, Shaun and Laura. I just bought a new washer-dryer 3 weeks ago. I wanted one that I could use manually without the need of a smart speaker or app. I've got a Bosch series, but I do not know the serial number, unfortunately. It has one big control knob that, when you turn it around, it clicks, and it also beeps every click. The control buttons are all in a strip and are touch control. So as soon as you touch them, you activate them, but there is plenty of room underneath the strip to put bump-ons or braille labels, as long as you make sure you find your marker first and then raise your finger to touch the relevant button, which also beeps, so you know it's activated. You will not inadvertently set something you do not want to. Once you have your bump-ons in place, the machine is very accessible. Hope this is helpful to the person who was asking about accessible washing machines. Denise in Glasgow.
Thank you, Denise. Appreciate that. And also, Elliot has been in touch as well with an answer on this.
Hi, Double Tappers. Just a quick one on accessible washing machines. We have a Samsung smart washing machine, which is pretty accessible to use through the Samsung SmartThings app. It is a little tricky to set up initially, but once you have done that and know how to turn it on, you can select the desired cycle as well as the temperature and other settings through the iOS app using VoiceOver. Their smart tumble dryers are also accessible in the same way, and, like Shaun mentioned on the show, there are tactile markings on their machines, including a Braille S for start and P for power. If you have SmartThings connected through Google, you can also ask Lady G how long is left on a cycle when the machines are running, which is pretty useful. Take care all. Elliot from a cloudy pool.
Oh, cloudy pool today. I do like getting those weather updates from Elliot. Thank you for that. Also, let's hear from Leander, who has some thoughts on this topic too.
Hi, Stephen and Shaun. It's Leander. Thanks once again for a great show. In response to the person looking for an accessible washing machine, I have a Hotpoint one. I'm not sure what model it is, but it is absolutely brilliant. Basically, the program I use is 2 clicks of the dial to the left. It beeps, I believe, when you turn the dial. And also it beeps when it's turned on and off and when it finishes and starts. The thing, what I like is I don't have to change the position of the dial. Every time I use it, it's already on the program what I use because I only use a certain one. And really economical. There's a 45-minute one what I use. I think there's a quick wash 15 minutes and a lot of other options. So I really recommend that.
Thank you, Leander, and thank you to everyone on that one. And, you know, again, this is what's great, right? Because we don't know the answers to all these questions all the time, but you double tappers always deliver. So thank you so much for that. And I hope that helps you, Jammy G. Let us know how you get on with your search for an accessible washing machine. You know, it's funny. I often think whenever my stock answer to any of this stuff is usually buy the cheapest one because it's going to have clicky buttons. It's going to have physical buttons, no touch screens. You know, this is what you're looking for. And unfortunately, that's for a lot of people the reality. Now, it works in 2 fronts, right? It's good and bad. You know, it's good in the sense that you obviously then don't have to pay a huge amount of money for the latest LG or Samsung washer. But at the same time, you're not getting all those features, all those fancy things that we actually would like to use. And why shouldn't we have the option for that? So, you know, it's good to hear there are some options out there that are accessible. Bosch is the one I hear most when I talk to people because of the accessible app. So that's great. You know, that's really cool.
I was recently speaking to Garth, our good friend Garth from Australia, and we were talking about this. And I said, well, I can't remember what I was saying, but something about, well, you know, does it have a smart app with it? And he came back with, I don't want to control things with a smart app. I've heard that. It took me back. I said, what are you talking about? So, well, no, I want the actual device itself to be accessible. And he is absolutely right. There's no reason at all that you can't control it, the washing machine itself accessibly. Why have we got to rely on an app to make it accessible?
And of course, having a touchscreen doesn't mean it can't be accessible.
No. There should be no excuse.
Actually, it should make it more likely that it's accessible because you can turn on screen reader, right? Well, I mean, that's the point. Well, if you have a device that's got a touchscreen on it and say it's running on Android, as I think most of these things tend to be, not all of them, granted, but, you know, a lot of them do, you could easily, you know, if you, I say easily, I don't mean from our point of view. I mean, from
saying washing machines run on Android now?
No, I don't know what I'm saying.
They do.
Well, some might. I don't know.
No, they're not running. You can't run Be My Eyes on one.
But the point is, well, I mean, it's obviously locked down, right? These systems are locked down. But I mean, they can build text-to-speech engines in these things, or if they're using a system like Android, they could just implement it, you know? But of course, it's lack of imagination
and then add a speaker.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Well, it beeps, so, you know.
Oh, well, that's fine then.
Okay. Right, good. Well done.
That got very miserable quick. I've got to say, we got some great answers there. Our response is pretty much everything is terrible. I think it just goes back to the headline of the episode. Everything is terrible.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay, carry on.
You have had a bad weekend, haven't you?
I know. I'm struggling.
Let's go to Alison, who's going to talk to us about HDMI dummies. You might remember I was talking about this with the, well, actually for my Mini, but also for my laptop, which I have to use an HDMI dummy for if I want to ever close the lid and use the computer. Well, here's Alison's take on that.
Hi, Stephen and Shaun. It is Allison in Ohio. Hope you guys are doing well. I am very behind on episodes, so sorry about that. Work has been crazy. But I'm listening to, you guys were talking about HDMI dummies and dongles and headless machines and things.
Yes.
And a couple of things came to mind for me. Number one, sometimes when you get one of those headless dongles, it will also try to be clever and change your sound settings, particularly in Windows. It will try to run sound to that headless dongle. I think because a lot of monitors now also have speakers built in. But the problem is, of course, that there is no sound source plugged into the dongle, and there isn't a way to plug a sound source in, at least with the ones that I bought. So just be mindful of that as you're purchasing those. Also, Shaun, I think you were asking about plugging a Fire TV stick into an HDMI to just use audio. There is a little converter box that I used to use with my Apple TV and a pair of just regular computer speakers. And it was made by Tendak. I think it's Tendak. And last time I looked for it, it was still available when I got it for a friend. And it has an HDMI port and it has just a regular audio port. And so you can plug whatever your HDMI device is into that. It mimics the HDMI, and then you plug your audio source, your speakers, or whatever you're going to use into that. Now, I haven't used it because I can just use the HomePod speakers now, but it is there. It is still available. So Tendak. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Alison.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to look for that straight away. Yeah, I was talking about being able to use, I've got a drawer full of Amazon Fire TV sticks, and I would like just to plug one in my bedroom and connect it to a pair of, normal computer speakers. I don't need the visual side of it. So that would be ideal for that. I will check that out. Thank you.
Is that the drawer that's next to the one full of the Amazon Fire tablets as well?
Yes, it is. Yes. You know what? I decided today to install a Amazon Fire tablet into the downstairs bathroom.
Oh.
Is that a terrible, awful idea?
Do you hate your family?
No. I probably won't be using it, but you can have, as you mentioned to me, you can have Lady A on it. Mm-hmm. So you can play the radio when you're having a shower or a bath and, things like that. And of course, the browsing functionality when you're wasting some time in the bathroom.
Oh, so you're treating this like one of those little books that lie next to the bath, the toilet.
Yes, why not?
Yeah.
You could watch a quick hour-long episode of Black Mirror while you're in there if you wanted to.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, that's a great idea. When you say install, do you mean just put it in there?
No, I found that we've got a stand in the bathroom on the side for everyone to put their phones onto, and a pair of USB speakers on the bathroom cabinet.
Well,
so you
clever.
put your phone on the stand and then just plug this into the bottom, and you got quite nice music and everything. I thought I might just stick a spare tablet in there for everyone to use.
That's a nice idea. You definitely need some speakers though, because the audio quality, I don't know if you noticed it, but it's not the best.
Oh, I haven't took out the drawer yet. I just thought
I'll be intrigued to hear your thoughts, because get it updated if I don't know how far or how old it is, but
I have no idea either.
The one that I'm playing with, I think is last year's 10-inch. I'm sure it is around about that size, 9-inch maybe. And it's fine. I mean, it's just as I was saying the other day. Well, I mean, it is
fine.
Well, it is fine. I mean, it's fine in the sense that you do get this horrible echoey voice view screen reader voice, which I do not understand. And the audio quality is not amazing. It's okay for books.
Doesn't sound fine so far. Yes, carry on.
Put it this way: I'd pair it up with a nice little Bluetooth speaker if I was taking it around. If I was using it, I would definitely have a nice little Bluetooth speaker. I think on the move, I'd actually quite like that device.
Okay.
But again, for me, I'd probably just, because I've got the Victor Reader Stream, I'd use that instead. It's got Bluetooth in it. I can Bluetooth out to whatever. So,
I'm saying it's the toilet tablet, and we'll leave it there.
The toilet. There's another company that'll never contact us again. Thanks for that. Right, back to the blind uniform conversation. Daniel's here. I know, I love this. This just keeps coming up. I love it. Here's Daniel's thoughts.
Hey, Stephen, Shaun, and of course, the lovely Laura. It's Daniel here from Ottawa, Canada, or I like to call myself the Blind Canuck. I'm listening to the episode for April 1st, and I just wanted to provide my 2 cents. The person who was talking about having a glass eye and putting it in a pint of beer or food, I actually chuckled at that because when I was a young lad, I think I was in 3rd grade, I remember there was a cute girl sitting in front of me, and I had a glass eye in my left eye, and I put the glass eye on her shoulder, and I said, "I got my eye on you." Let's just say she didn't react favorably to that remark. She freaked out, and I kind of got punished for that one. I've been guilty of doing similar things when I had a glass eye. And for the blind uniform, can I nominate a new item to be added to the unofficial uniform?
Of course.
I'd like to nominate steel-toe shoes or boots because I find that especially with a white cane, when I was walking within buildings, sometimes, you're swinging the cane left and right. Sometimes the cane, when you swing it one way or another, it might not line up and hit a wall properly, so you kind of miss it and you end up walking into it. And I find that steel-toe boots help prevent your feet from being, your toes being crushed. But also to continue, as for the conversation of the sunglasses, I do believe that the majority of people do know when you have a guide dog or a white cane. Those tend to be the obvious signifiers that you are visually impaired. I don't believe sunglasses alone is enough to tell people you're blind. But I will tell you a small story that when I had my first guide dog, and at that time, I was completely blind in my left eye. I had some tunnel vision in my right eye. And for quite a while, when I commute for work, I'd have my first guide dog and I wasn't wearing sunglasses. And everybody kept asking me if I was training the dog. And I'm like, no, she's my guide dog. She's working. And I kept wondering, why do they keep asking me this? And then one day I decided to wear sunglasses. And for the following few weeks, people were now telling me, oh, you're working your guide dog. And I'm like, yeah, it hit me. I'm like, oh, because I'm wearing sunglasses now. And so, I don't believe that the sunglasses alone are a signifier, but to me, that experience has taught me that people do, when they think of a blind person, they always they see a blind person with a white cane or a dog and a pair of sunglasses. And again, I like to nominate steel-toe boots. Also, another reason I think why, for me, I like to wear sunglasses, and it's just a thing for me. It doesn't reflect anybody else. But I found over time that no sunglasses at all, especially now that I've lost the rest of my eyesight, my eyes don't look very pretty. I stopped wearing my glass eye, and I find that sometimes it can make people feel a bit uncomfortable. And so I tend to put sunglasses on just to kind of put people at ease. Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, you don't need to worry about that. Just be you. I just want people to feel comfortable around me, so I just put them on anyways. Sometimes I won't. If I'm in my office, I'll take them off. And if somebody walks into my office, I'm not going to put them on just for them. But if I'm out and about in public, I tend to put sunglasses on anyways because I just feel it's part of the uniform. Why not? Plus, I look pretty damn cool with a pair of sunglasses. So, anyways, I want to say thanks again for you guys for the wonderful work you guys are doing. Keep it up. Anyways, hope you guys have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, and listen, I think it's nice to be considerate of other people. I mean, I understand that some would say, well, you're you and who cares? And I get that, and there's plenty of people who will do that. But I also think I'd probably do the same thing. And I kind of do, I think. I mean, I don't like wearing sunglasses. As much as I wear them all the time, it's because I have to wear them. I would rather not wear them all the time. I wear them every day on the show. And I'll be honest, I'd rather not. I'd rather just sit here without them on. But I just would be uncomfortable. And also, I don't know where my eyes are going half the time. I can't even, I can't see the camera, but, I can sort of get a sense of where the camera is. So I kind of don't want to be just constantly looking like I'm looking off all the time. And that's something that I get conscious about. So to deal with that, that's partly why I wear the glasses, but also it's for the light as well.
Sunglasses on. I didn't think I should have put sunglasses on. You know what? The blind uniform it's a really interesting conversation that came from a throwaway remark. It's a blind uniform, and it's something that does identify us, if you like. But all of the things are not something we put on for that reason. They're things that we use for us, right? I got to use a stick. I got to use a guide dog. The sunglasses are because it makes it more comfy for me. Be that to I'm slightly self-conscious of my eyes, or I'm photosensitive, whatever the reason is. It's not a uniform we put on for the sole purpose of identifying us to others. It's just the things that enable us to function, basically. So
that's very well put, Shaun Priest. I like that.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. And on that note, and you mentioned being considerate to other people with glass eyes, please stop putting them in people's food, drink,
that.
or on their body. It's not funny, although it kind of is, but it
not
makes
big
me
and
gag
it's not
a little
clever.
bit.
Yeah.
A girl you liked, so you put your glass eye on her. Yeah, that worked well. Well done.
Let's get another one. Actually, Charles wants to comment on this as well.
Hello, everybody. Charles from Ohio here. I have a thought about this ongoing conversation about the blind uniform. I would like to take a stab at reframing this entire idea. And while I think it's important to acknowledge that the blind uniform is probably a thing, I think that everybody has a uniform: blind, wheelchair-bound, mother, father, banker, construction worker. There are certain things that you can always tell about a person based on what they have on them, maybe how they move, maybe what they're driving. So is it really that bad to have a quote-unquote blind uniform? I think maybe there are some advantages here that might go along with the disadvantages. I'm not going to argue that point. There are definitely disadvantages of being stereotyped immediately. Everybody knows that. No argument. But I think there might be some advantages too. And I think everybody needs to find their own way to kind of walk that line, figure out what they're comfortable with. My uniform when I go out now is more about me being a father than it is about me being a blind person. I've got a red and blue cane. So, I mean, I've always kind of leaned into me being blind. I've been blind long enough that I've come to terms with it. So now I lean into it and it's part of my identity. It's not fully who I am. I'm not just a blind guy. I'm a musician and a D&D player and an accessibility consultant and all of these other things. And I'm also blind. So I don't mind having that being something that somebody sees about me as like one of the first things. But I also will go out in public wearing a diaper bag because I have 2 small children. I will go out with my laptop case if I'm going to a meeting for a new client. You know, I think there's more to this conversation than just focusing on the blind aspects. So that's my opinion, and I look forward to other people's responses.
Yeah, it's kind of opened up a whole can of worms, this conversation, hasn't it? I mean, that's a really interesting take, Charles, because I think you're right. I think it comes down to a little bit of our building confidence. And all of these things are part of it. They're needed. But there's also an acceptance that has to come with it. And perhaps calling it a uniform, for some people, might be a good thing. It might actually encourage people to feel more confident using their cane, wearing sunglasses if you're struggling.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about that aspect, about the actual name of it. We put a uniform on when we're ready to go to work. When it's in terms of, you know, actually get out and about, maybe. I don't know. It's very cool. But you're absolutely right. Everyone has a uniform for something. When I was at college with my Motorhead leather jacket and, you know, my long hair and guitar earrings, that was a uniform signifying another aspect. So, yeah, you're absolutely right.
We would never have become friends. I wasn't cool enough to hang around with you at that point. No, definitely not. Or this point, to be fair. But no, it just, you know, it's so true though. And it's funny because my wife likes, you know, and I do too. I've always we used to talk about this. I'd love to work in a job where I wore a uniform, you know, because I kind of like that, you know, that kind of uniformity. I liked school for that. Everyone wore the same clothes, you know, so I suppose there's an element of that in it. But it's also, I think, just about confidence building. There are a lot of us who struggle to come to terms with dealing with the white cane. And, you know, I think it's maybe a bit of mindset here. If we think about it as a negative, then it's a negative, right? Because inevitably, if you're losing your vision or you've been told you're losing your sight, the last thing you want to think about is using a white cane. The last thing you want to imagine is walking down the street with one. And suddenly, you know, you're bombarded with a bunch of people, you know, on you find a podcast and someone's going on about how great it is to be blind. You're like, really? So, you know, there's a bit of a bridge to get to the point where you can feel a bit more confident. And if using these things, and it's funny, actually, the whole idea of the blind uniform, you could almost track it over decades. Because there's an interview coming up on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about the BT Speak and the Orbit Speak. And Lisa Salinger is going to be joining us. to talk about that from her perspective of actually using these devices. And while she was talking about it, she said, the BT Speak was, a big thing when it came out, because all the people back in the late 80s who were using Braille and Speaks back in the day, she said, that's what you had when you were blind in the late 80s. You had your white cane and a Braille and Speak. So you can almost start charting the blind uniform at different points. Like when do we be swinging Perkins Braillers around our neck, that would have been part of the blind uniform at one point, people carrying those around.
It's like an accessibility archaeologist.
That's
almost.
Right.
This is great.
It's like 90s fashion. What was it this year? Ooh, it was human wear, Braille and Apex or something. I don't know. But it's kind of cool. It's a great conversation to be had. Listen, thank you as always to all of you for your emails and your WhatsApps and your voice messages. Loads of you getting in touch, which is wonderful. Keep in touch. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow. On the show tomorrow, we're going to be hearing from Aaron Linson. He is going to be joining us to talk all about the Stellar Trek. We've been talking a lot about it ahead of my review with it. I haven't received it yet, but I'm hoping it will be here very soon. We're going to be getting a little bit of a whetting of the appetite, if that's the right phrase.
Why not?
With Aaron Linson tomorrow on the show. But for now, thank you as always, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Thank you, Shaun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.